You never saw him in front of the camera, but for nearly 4 decades, Roger Peters played a crucial role in keeping KMTV on the air. To celebrate a special milestone this week, we welcome the World War II veteran back to the station. 3 News Now anchor Zach Williamson introduces us in Mission Service.
This is Mission Service, sponsored by Barry Law.
It's been quite some time since former KMTV engineer Roger Peters worked at Channel 3.
Boy, I'll tell you, you guys are going computer crazy, haven't you?
But we were all thrilled for his return.
It's nice to meet you. Thank you for coming back.
Yeah.
A television pioneer, he joined KMTV in the early 50s at our first location downtown.
That's where I first started working.
Following us to our home since the 70s here on Mockingbird Drive.
I would be here 3 days and then I'd be going out to the tall tower in downtown and
checking up there and checking it out.
Doing maintenance on everything.
But that's just a portion of a life well lived.
2004, when I was a kid back then.
Helping it. You were a kid back then.
Yeah, I was 81.
Roger turns 100 years old this week. But when he was a much younger kid, he enlisted in the U.S. Army.
I could still wear my World War II uniform.
Serving in the Engineer Combat Group in Germany and France.
One of the primary things we did was put a bridge across the Elbe River. And we named it the Truman Bridge when we first put it up, but after we started working with all those refugees, we called it the Freedom Bridge.
He has no shortage of stories from the war.
I didn't have any ammunition. Man, I shouldn't be ammunition yet. But I sure scared that German officer.
But one really stuck out. Near the end of the war, he was walking by himself when he was offered a ride.
I looked over at the driver, German sergeant, driving the truck. I look in the back, there's about 20 German soldiers back there. Prisoners of war, I guess.
The only communication they had during the ride were naming German cities, until they arrived at their destination.
And his eyes were shining with tears, and he reached out his hand, and I reached out mine, and my eyes were shining with tears, and we shook hands. We shook hands. My real enemy. It's over. It's over.
His time in the service benefited him for life after.
I learned to keep moving all the time in the Army, for one thing.
He fell in love with bicycling when his son, David, who had cerebral palsy, showed interest in it. The two went on bike trips all across the region.
I would ride 1,100 miles in 2 weeks, usually. That really helped David's morale.
At 87, he became the oldest person to do the bike ride across Nebraska. When not on the road, you could find him on the water.
I windsurfed in the Atlantic, the Pacific, Gulf of Mexico, Caribbean, and Columbia River, which is the greatest windsurfing spot in the world.
But some of his most rewarding times came as a teacher's aide at Skyline Elementary in Elkhorn. He shared a story about what a second grader told him when he was in his 80s.
Mr. Peters, you're just like us, except you got wrinkles. and that made my day, I'll tell you. I knew I'd found my place.
Through his service and unforgettable presence, leaving his footprint every place he goes.
Roger lives in Valley at the home he built from the ground up, and he'll celebrate his 100th birthday Thursday, surrounded by family and completing his 100th 2-mile walk through town. If there's a person or a topic you think we should cover for Mission Service, tell us. Email mission.service@3newsnow.com.